We got to ask, allegedly they're aiming to make this the most star-studded WrestleMania ever with a ton of returning legends. Shawn Michaels has already answered the question and taken himself off the board, saying, I'm about to get 2 new knees. I won't be one of them. But there's speculation. Hey, The Rock will be there and Stone Cold will be there. I guess the question is, you warming that shoulder up for 2027? What are we doing?
Let me tell you something. They call, I'm answering the phone. I haven't got no indication I'm doing anything, but that's going to be a fun show, and they're going to see a lot of legends there. That it's just going to be awesome. I think this show is going to be absolutely fantastic, and it does. To me, it does a lot. It's about not just wrestling, but it kind of makes it's a good thing of not WWE is just America. It's it's WWE is a global event, but it takes something Western at least into Saudi Arabia. They're going to have a pretty good feeling about that. I think people that watch the Saudi Arabia, they're just biased against them. And if they are, they may have reason to be. I'm not throwing stones at these guys. Your opinions are your opinions. A lot of people are going to change their view of what's going on in Saudi Arabia because some people will not. And I understand that. I'm not trying to say that the world's going to be hunky-dory. I know better than that. But it's going to be an awesome show. And I'd love to be a part if they ask me. I have no idea if they will or not.
It'll be interesting to see what legends come back. We've heard Eric Bischoff say that he was in WWE at the time when they did the first Saudi show, and allegedly they were requesting guys like the Ultimate Warrior and Yokozuna, who unfortunately are no longer with us, but they clearly knew enough about wrestling to say, we want all the big stars. So it will be interesting to see who they break out the checkbook for. And hey, if you've got I know there's some people out there who were sort of anti this whole idea, but if checks are written big enough to see matches that you never thought you would see, I think fans will come around, John.
I think fans will come around, and I think people have their own opinions about what it is. I think people are going to see it and realize this is a heck of an event, and I think fans are really going to enjoy it. And I really believe that when you get about a day or two from it, all of this you sold out stuff is going to die, and the hype of the event is going to take over. And people are just going to sit there and want to watch it. And when they're watching it, you're not going to hear a word of it. And I think the show is going to be that good that this could be the greatest WrestleMania in history because of what they're going to do, being the first one in Saudi Arabia.
Well, we'll stay tuned and see what happens there. You mentioned a minute ago that the American version of WrestleMania might be called something different. Maybe it's WrestlePalooza. You're probably saying that because Mark Shapiro recently did an interview where he said that WrestlePalooza, which is coming up this weekend, is going to be a very significant event for them moving forward. Do you think it'll be like the WrestleMania of 2027? Do you think that's the answer, WrestlePalooza?
It could be. They need something. And if they take that away from the fans, they're going to give them something. I'm convinced of it. I mean, these guys do business too well. They know how to these guys are some of the best business game people in the world. Look at what they've done. I mean, the money they're making right now, the TV contracts they have, the fact they're getting rights fees for events to come to cities, they're going to do something to make up for that. And so whether it's WrestlePalooza or something else, I think it's a great idea to have it. I think fans want to see this. Fans like going in and being part of what they love for a whole weekend. To them, it's their, what they look forward to all year long. And I think that's wonderful. And they want to come in on a Thursday and leave out on a Tuesday and see all the different shows and be part of everything. And I think WWE is going to find a way to make that happen.
Well, this will be the first time this Saudi WrestleMania in a long time that there haven't been a whole host of independent events sort of piggybacking WWE. That's become a common thing for the last 20 years or so. But I think that does bring about an opportunity on the other channel. If you're thinking like I'm thinking, while the big Saudi show is going on, there is an opportunity for another company, whoever it may be, to step up and have a really big event that same weekend here in America. Don't you think they could do their own counter programming? They
could, but it's got to be careful what you ask for. I mean, that's the dog that caught the car. I mean, what do you do with it, man? I mean, is that a fight you really want to pick? And I'm not sure there's a company out there that should pick that fight.
Well,
I understand what you're saying, and I understand that's an opportunity. I just don't think there's a company that's big enough to pick that fight.
Well, the reality is we know it won't be TNA. I mean, I'm just saying, and it won't be AAA. But I guess you could do that, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. WWE could just run their own mega weekend here.
I wouldn't doubt that at all. I wouldn't put nothing by them. Conrad, I wouldn't put nothing by them. I mean, what they are doing is just, it's shocking to me how good a business it is. And people say, oh, you shouldn't do predatory business. That business is predatory. That's what you do. You're in business to make money. And they could do something like that. They could run competition against themselves.
Yeah, why not? I mean, listen, it's the same thing they did this past weekend. I mean, they ran a UFC and TKO boxing at the same doggone time. Like, Dana showed up just in time for the main event. He had to make sure the UFC was finished first. Like, that's what they're doing. And by the way, they paid, I don't know if you saw this, but TKO paid UNLV $1.75 million to leave Allegiant Stadium. They got paid $1.7 million to relocate. And they knew they could afford to do that because they were bringing in $47 million. But now that I'm thinking about it, and again, I don't have any inside information, but the rumor and innuendo is that Noah over in Japan is next for this WWE sort of treatment like AAA. So if you have a giant event happening in America with Noah, AAA, and TNA, and maybe NXT, oh my gosh, you want to talk about a mega wrestling weekend on different continents. That could be insane, John.
Yeah, and we're just armchair.
We're freestyle. We don't know.
We're having fun talking about crazy stuff. That's awesome, Conrad. To have something like that, everything but WWE. So that's pretty cool to have all those different groups. You know, if that association has come to fruition, like you mentioned that it could. Now, I have no inside information. I got to always keep saying that, but I think it'd be so cool to have that. And now you've got basically the independent world, even though they're really not independents. They're bigger than independents and they're more formal than independents. But the independent world outside of WWE in one mega event, that could be freaking awesome.
And let's be clear. I appreciate you said that because we do need to clarify because everybody knows whose podcast channel we're on here. We don't have any inside information.
That's right. We don't. I have no information.
We do know where Omos was for a while.
That's right.
So that's right. I made a logical leap there.
The trail is not hard to find.
Yeah, we're just freestyling. And SaveWithConrad.com.
My name's Daryl. Came from Massachusetts and I moved to Wisconsin. And there's a lot of people that might be asking, why go with Conrad? Why go with Supreme Lending? And let me tell you something, brother. I think about the credentials, the tag team partner that I'd be working with. First of all, we got the Podfather himself, Conrad. How can you go wrong with that? And then also go on to SaveWithEric.com, which, you know, who else could have kicked Vince's ass for 83 consecutive weeks? You can't beat that duo right there. But they did bring a secret weapon, and I didn't realize this because this was not advertised. I worked closely with Larry the Axe Thompson. And let me tell you, with all the stress with moving across the country with a large family that I have, it was reassuring to know that I had the enforcer at my back, handling questions from the other side of sellers, the other side with trying to find the right prices. He took care of all that. All I had to do was keep my eye on the prize and make it there to Wisconsin. They were absolutely fantastic. They checked in on me, especially Francis, very patient with me. I don't go through this process all the time, so I trusted the experts. I was able to call them. They called me if they had questions, and it felt like it was a personal arrangement. There was even a point in which, from the seller side, they wanted something else that wasn't part of the norm. Francis straight up told me, hey, we're loyal to you. We'll do whatever you want to do, and we'll make sure that you guys are taken care of. They came through. I made it to the dream. I'm the champion of my own destiny here. They were able to help pave the way for me and my family. I couldn't be more happy with the results. I went from having less than an acre to now 20 acres worth of land. They made that dream a reality. I'm Daryl, and I'm living in Friendship, Wisconsin, in my dream home, thanks to SaveWithConrad.com.
NMLS number 2129, Equal Housing Lender. SaveWithConrad.com.